The joy of owning horses. One of the great joys is making your own hay. And sitting on the back of a Sickle Bar mower, hearing that swish, 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 and watching that tall grass fall over is just exceedingly rewarding. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, hello, I'm out here in the shed working on a Massey Harris number 33 ground drive Sickle Bar mower. I think they were produced in the 1920s and 30s. It was previously owned by someone who refurbished it, used it for a little while, then it sat outside for a long time. So I've got a couple of seizing problems. The gears are doing good, the gearbox is looking really nice, and engagement, disengagement works well. I got to drain that oil though, it's pretty old and nasty. I took off the sickle bar, I replaced all the sections. That's actually a John Deere sickle bar. It's a JD34, so I'm guessing that was replaced in the rehab. But everything else seems to be original equipment on here. We are having a problem right now with the lift mechanism. I'm trying to work on that. I've done a shout out to some of our experts in the field to see if they can help me get this fixed up. But right now it all works, it operates. And I may hook it up just to the golf cart to see how things are running and see how the adjustments are set. But eventually we're going to put a tongue on that and we're going to drive it with the horses. But right now, the guy who owned it before us had it hooked to his tractor, so it's got that tow bar on it. I'm going to leave that on, and for now we'll just hook it to the forecart and let the horses pull it around until I can get a tongue retrofit onto this thing. But I'm pretty excited about this. It'll allow us to cut our own hay, and it's really kind of the first big antique piece of equipment I've tried to take apart and rebuild, so this is exciting. So this is life on the farm. When it rains, it gets muddy, and if you don't have gravel down, which we wanted to place gravel here, but the guy hasn't gotten out here to do it yet. Danielle accidentally drove the golf cart into the mud here, so because we were trying to get that out of the shed instead of hitching the horses. Well, now we've got the golf cart stuck. We can't get that out. We're going to try to use the mower, but eventually I guess we're probably going to have to hitch the horses to get this out if it doesn't work. So, lesson learned.
Poor Rosa is getting left inside today. I'm sorry, girl. It is for your own safety. You cannot go outside when we're using the mower, okay? But I'll come back and get you later. Yeah. All right. You go take a nap, and the time will pass much faster. Bye-bye. Sometimes you just do what you gotta do.
Got it all put back together. Got a little help from some shout outs across the country as to guys that have more experience than I do. Now we're going to go ahead and try it. We don't have the tongue hooked up yet, so we're going to pull it with a forecart. But this is actually a good thing, because whenever you try a new piece of equipment, the horses may react to it. So we're going to go out right now, just drive around without dropping the bar, make a bunch of noises, make it rattle and stuff like that. I'm going to be on the Sickle Bar mower, Danielle's going to be on the forecart, and we're going to work with it just a little bit. And then we may do a couple of passes and then give them a rest. We're trying to ease our way into this. There's no reason to take risks, and this is a way we can cut down our risk, keep everybody safe, but introduce new equipment to the horses, and it'll introduce us on how to use it, so she can focus on the horses and I can focus on the mechanics of the sickle bar, raising and lowering and changing the angle and stuff like that. I don't have to worry about the horses at all. So it's a great way to do a step-by-step process.
Get up, girls. Yep. Easy.
Let it go. It's heavy. It's slick and heavy. I'm going to try to bang this tool around the implement and make a bunch of noise, because when it starts going it makes noises. I want them to get used to those noises. This doesn't make a whole lot of noise until you engage the sickle bar. So they're really not reacting to anything right now. So go ahead, Mama. So the noise of this sickle bar only happens when it's moving. So when she stops, I stop the noise. When she goes, I increase the noise. And that'll get him used to the sickle bar.
That's actually a technique we use a lot in our training. We want our horses to learn that if they get scared, if they stop, then they can relax. So when we introduce new equipment, very often we'll make noise when they move, we'll stop them, and we'll stop the noise. So it really conditions them that stopping is a way to be able to relax and back off on whatever's scaring them. All right, girls, get up.
So it seems to be cutting well, it's a good depth and stuff, but we're having an issue, and it may be that the grass is wet. We're not sure, we've not done this before, but in the inside of the cutter bar, right there next to the wheel, it bunches up, and instead of falling back over the back, it falls forward, lifts the blade up, and it just pushes all the grass over. So it stops cutting on the inside, basically. And then you're left with, you know, this big pile of hay. So we're gonna go back and read up and see if that's an issue. If you guys want to give us some hints, let us know. So we'll keep going. All right, good.
All right, girls, get up.
So that's when you use equipment from the early 1900s, you got to check every piece and every part. We started with the four-card here, and we were going to switch out that tongue later, just for safety issues.
Well,
but
it had already been replaced like 2 years ago.
yeah, but that tongue just snapped right there, back at the bolt, where the bolt hole went through. So the tongue snapped. Looks like the mower deck is fine, and in the video, hopefully you saw my graceful dismount. But everything's fine, everything's safe, but the tongue broke, so things happen.
And now this is stuck here until we find a way to get it home.
We can get it home, no problem. Having fun.
Yeah.
Well, I just come to think of it, when I heard the cracking, I actually thought it was the pitman bar coming apart, which could have been ugly, but I didn't even know it was a tongue until I jumped off of there. But you know, with all the parts that I thought would fail, I was worried about that pitman. Really, it runs really fast. I'm surprised at what the RPM is off that flywheel. So I stopped every once in a while and I checked all the bolts on here and all the bolts down there, thinking if we're going to have a failure, it's going to be one of those. I guess I just never imagined it would be the actual tongue. So that caught me off guard. But you know, I think we do a lot of things around here to be safe, and I think you know, this is why, because these things can really hurt you and you got to be ready at all times. So safety first.
Well, obviously, using a sickle bar mower takes equal parts of skill and art, neither of which we possess at the present time. We've definitely had our share of challenges today in this little experiment, but it's been fun. I always love you learning a new tool with the horses. A few things we have learned about: the bar really only cuts one direction, and you need to stay in that direction. As soon as we would turn around and try to go the opposite way, it would jam up. So once that first swath is cut, the horses need to walk in that swath as you move over, you know, closer and closer to the inside, which points out an issue we have here. Ideally, a hay field would be one nice big open field that you could loop around. I don't have that with all these trees. So this obviously is not an ideal place. We'll probably only get a little bit of hay out of here over time. But hopefully as we get better and we learn about the tool and the spacing, things will run a little smoother. So we'll see what happens here.
You know, I think it says Massey Harris, but I think it might be a Ford, because I go through about a quart of oil every hour through that seal lake there. So there's no Ford owners out there. See ya.
Well, we just put the horses in the barn for a lunch break, and I'm gonna go in and check on Rosa, make sure she survived that time alone. Let's go see how she did. Rosa! Hi! Oh my goodness, we're back! We're back! Did you survive? Did you take your nap? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, well guess what? After lunch, you can go back out with us, okay? Because we're all done. That's right. She's a little bit of a spaz, but she's a sweetheart. And she's safe, right? Say hi.
Well, thanks again for coming back to Redgate Farm and enjoying another day in the life here. If you're interested in more videos, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, but more exciting still, we've put together a Patreon site. And that site has a membership tier system, so if you're only interested in homesteading or maybe gardening, or maybe you're interested in driving the horses, or training the horses, or a rehab case, maybe you're interested in everything we do. There's different levels of membership. But it's very detailed, videos and photos and articles and different posts, really in depth about what we do here, so you can learn. Maybe you want to start your own little farm. Maybe you're just interested in finding out what happens behind the scenes. It's a great way to learn all that. So go check out our Patreon site right below here.